This is good. This is better.
Jason, you're on a hot mic. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Superior Town Council, the Superior Metropolitan District Number 1 Board of Directors, and the Superior Liquor Authority for Monday, September 8th, 2025. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Shannon?
Mayor Mark Lasis,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jason Serbu,
Here.
Councilmember Heather Craycraft,
Here.
Councilmember Mike Foster,
Here.
Councilmember Jen Cowish,
Here.
Councilmember Stephanie Miller,
Here.
Councilmember Neil Shaw, Town Manager Matt Magley,
Here.
Town Attorney Katie Vara.
All right, up next is approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes that we'd like to make? I'm going to pull 4H. Other than that, any changes? I'll entertain a motion to approve with 4H pulled.
So moved.
A motion from Councilmember Craycraft, second from Councilmember Miller. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Serbu,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cowish,
Yes.
Councilmember Craycraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Mayor Lasis.
Yes. All right, we are on to our council reports. Who would like to go first? All right.
Just a couple quick things for me. First and foremost, I want to thank Michaela and the entire town staff and everyone, Chamber, the Rotary Club for putting together the Chili Fest. That was absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Really appreciate all your effort there. And I know it's a lot of work. So I would say it's the best we've ever had. So thank you. Second, I want to thank our law enforcement officers. It was great to see them out and enjoying the day as well. So just want to remind everybody of the summer markets, the second to last this Wednesday from 5 to 8 in downtown Superior. So if you haven't been, it's a whole lot of fun and great to meet some of the businesses and grab some food and some goodies from the farm stand. So make sure to check that out. And then last but not least, I was made aware by a resident at Chili Fest that there was another resident after the goats grazed kind of around Gill and Purple Park. There was some trash that was left, which obviously had been there before, but you couldn't really see it because there was a lot of grass. Once the goats did their job, it was much more visible. And so we had a local resident, John Flora, who went out and for hours picked up trash and made sure that the hillside looked really nice. So I just want to recognize him. And I think it would be really nice if we did something for him, maybe a thank you or handwritten something, but just wanted to say how grateful I am, and I know the rest of the community is, for him taking the time on his own time to make our community more beautiful. That's it for me.
Thank you, Stephanie. Jen?
Yeah, I can go. So we had our Superior Veterans meetup last weekend, and I just want to put an ask out to the community. We're looking for a community service project, ideally something that is going to be serving Superior, but we're not opposed to a more regional effort. There's some organizations that we're looking in, but we are a small town, so we don't have veteran-based organizations here in town. So if there's any ideas, if somebody sees a fit where I think our group really wants to just get out and have a physical impact in the community. I also attended The Boulder County Dems launched the Boulder County Veteran Democrats. So this is specifically veterans that are in Boulder County that are registered Democrats. So the first meeting is going to be September 30th for anybody that's interested, a veteran or veteran affiliated. But it's a new group. I think a lot of it is a response to things that are going on right now. And as a veteran, and some of the ways that veterans are feeling with how our military is being used. So we're starting to see a lot more activity of veterans just showing up and wanting to be a part of the process to ensure that maybe it doesn't look like that. So I also attended the Big Bill Fallout Emergency Town Hall. This was in Longmont, where state leadership spoke about efforts to manage the large budget deficit here in Colorado. And they shared some of the work that they did in their emergency session, specifically some propositions that they're looking at for how to impact or mitigate impacts to child food access, specifically Proposition LL, which is they're proposing to allow the state to keep over $12 million to fund healthy school meals for all programs. So this was started, I want to say it was last year, maybe the year before, but where kids in school can eat lunch for free. That nobody has to qualify for this. Is something the state provides, and that program specifically is not going to be funded, and so they're trying to find money to ensure that kids can still eat at school. So also Proposition MM, which would increase state income taxes for households earning over $300,000 to specifically support this food program. And so you'll see information about those coming out. But LL and MM, and somebody said this, I thought it was great, lunch, and meal. We want yes on those, so to make sure kids can eat when they go to school. I was also recently appointed by the governor to the Regional Air Quality Council. This focuses on strategies to improve air quality and meet state mandates. Some of the programs are like free fare. You've probably experienced some of these. It's pretty amazing, but free fares for RTD during high ozone months, some of the accessible bike programs, clean air auto repair, engines off program designed to electrify food trucks, and the mow down pollution program designed to support commercial landscaping companies transitioning from gas to electric through various funding entities. So I spent about 10 hours last week in an orientation and also the actual monthly meeting. And they align so heavily with what Superior sustainability goals are and the work that we're already doing here. So I'm really looking forward to what I can learn and how to bring that to our town and support both the efforts in clean air communities. On the Chili Fest, it was so lovely to just walk down the street to this really amazing event and see our whole town there. And the weather was amazing. So I think we spoke about this earlier. It's just, I think people stayed longer because it wasn't so hot. And it was, it just gets better every year. And I could go into a million details with staff, but they are really knocking it out of the park on that one. So I also attended a Boulder County Democratic event for candidates running for seats from school boards to municipalities. So just as a heads up to people, some of the top questions and topics were transportation, economic development, and middle housing efforts. There's definitely a lean to regional efforts where we can coordinate on projects and solutions. And I'm just excited to see how Superior can be a part of and benefit from the creative ways that people that are running for election and want to be involved in this year and next year are looking to solve problems in Boulder County. So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. Heather?
I have no report.
All right. Mike?
Thank you. I, again, want to just, echo the thanks for an amazing Chili Fest. Michaela, Allison, Leslie, Jeremy, Matt Rarick, Matt Magley, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of people that were involved in the planning. Amazing event, great vendors. Hats off to Casa Agava for really delicious margaritas. Very strong. But I thought it was just a phenomenal event, and it was great to see so many people from the community showing up to attend the event and just interact with and engage with the vendors that were there and town booths. So well done. Well done. Next update, so Saturday, October 25th, Silk is hosting its Monster Mash from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Superior Community Center. So if you have kiddos that are looking to have some fun on a Saturday night, parents can drop the kids off. Parents can go have a date night or something while Silk hosts the kids with a fun Monster Mash. So event details are still getting planned out, but it's going to be a great event. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Mike. Jason.
Yeah, good evening. Mike, I'm in a semi-private area, and when you mentioned margaritas, I got a lot of favorable looks just now, so well done. Last week, or not last week, but the 28th, I met with seniors for a 55-plus housing initiative conversation, and there was a good turnout, a lot of really, really good conversations and good questions from this. So all I can say is I'm really looking forward to building off that, and I'm excited about talking about the kite crossing tonight and talk about 55 plus affordable housing in downtown Superior and what we can do to get this thing done. So that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Jason. All right, and that leaves me. So good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. I want to also just extend my thanks to town staff for an incredible Chili Fest. I agree. I think that this was the best one yet. Many thanks to the Superior Chamber of Commerce, the Boulder Valley Rotary Club for sponsoring the Beer Fest, as well as all the help that we got from the countless town staff who were there helping out, Boulder County Sheriff's Department and Mountain View Fire as well. Really just a great showing from the community. It's always a good time, and it just seems to be getting better each year. So, we're just iterating and learning from the things that work and continuing to improve. And, hats off to Michaela and Allison and the rest of the events team for sponsoring this event and putting this thing together. I know that it must take a tremendous amount of time and effort, and I'm so happy that I don't have to do that work, that we have people that are actually doing that work, because I wouldn't be able to do it. I got to walk around at the beginning of the Chili Fest with Congressman Joe Neguse, who came. So he was really happy to meet with constituents here in Superior and just kind of meet and taste some chili as well. So that was a just wonderful, wonderful event, and bravo to town staff. Couple upcoming events. We have our town council budget review this Wednesday from 1 to 4 p.m. If you're interested in what we're going to be spending money on in 2026, I encourage you to pay attention to that. It's how the sausage is made. We've got our final summer market for the summer on Wednesday as well from 5 to 8 p.m. in downtown Superior. That's the 10th. Next Monday, we'll be having our town council work session. And then the Taste of Nepal is Thursday, September 18th. So get your tickets for the Taste of Nepal. There's going to be some really great food and a really interesting speaker that Stephanie's talked about the people who got married at the summit of Mount Everest. So really incredible. Last thing I wanted to just note, last meeting we had Sergeant Solomon here give a presentation on e-bikes, motorcycles, and just the challenges that we're facing here in Superior. And not less than a week later, there was an accident in the Safeway parking lot where a teenager who was riding a motorcycle hit a car. Fortunately, he was okay, but this just goes to show that this is a real problem. And what we're asking people to do is not buy these vehicles that your kids are not legally allowed to ride. And I think what we need to all do is make sure that the word is getting out, that the messaging is clear. So if your child is below 16 years old, they can't ride a motorcycle under Colorado law. This is not a Superior law. This is a Colorado law. You need a driver's license. You need motorcycle endorsement. You need plates. You need insurance. You need registration. They cannot ride a motorcycle. Same goes true if it's an e-motorcycle. They can't ride it. If it is anything above a class 3 bike, they can't ride it if they're less than 16 years old. So if you're buying an e-bike for a teenager that is less than 16 years old, it's got to be a class 1 or class 2. It can't be a class 3 bike. It can't be an e-scooter that goes 30, 40 miles an hour. It can't be an e-motorcycle. And once you get to that above 750 watt motor, they need to be 16 years old. So parents, educate yourselves about what you're buying your kids. If you've already purchased something that is not legal, I would really caution you against allowing your children to ride it until they're old enough to ride it safely. It's really just a matter of time before somebody gets seriously hurt in this town, and I'm really concerned about it. So we're going to continue to work with the Sheriff's Department about messaging and about outreach to the community, but enforcement needs to start at home, because if we're not enabling these kids to ride these unsafe vehicles, then we're stopping the problem where it actually starts. So more to come on that, but don't buy your kid a e-motorcycle for Christmas. That's going to be my message for the next coming months. So that's what I've got for tonight. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question, update for the council. We have scheduled for the September 22nd meeting the consideration of rezoning Town 15 property. And I just want to confirm, make sure that the council's good with having that scheduled for the 22nd, or if you wanted to, the other alternative would be to table it indefinitely for now.
Did we get those questions answered that
We will have
be
all that
discussed?
ready for the packet, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I say as long as we have the deliverables that were requested, I'm ready to talk about it.
I still think it should be part of the comprehensive, after the comprehensive plan has been considered by the Planning Commission and the Town Council. But if the majority of council want to discuss it on the 22nd, then we can have that conversation.
We will have the draft comprehensive plan language
Yeah, uses for the property.
for this property. Okay.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Town Attorney.
I don't have anything, but
Okay. Welcome. Town Clerk. All right. We're on to public comment. We take public comment here for 5 minutes per person, first come, first serve. We've got a sign-in sheet by the town manager right now. If you're participating via Zoom and would like to give public comment, you can use the raise hand feature, and I'll call on you in the order in which I see your hand raised. So up first.
Dave Crawford.
Hello, council and staff. My name is Dave Crawford, and I live at 208 West William Street. You'll have to pardon me. I'm going to have to go through my notes pretty diligently. I was gathering them at the last minute. And I know that many of the things I'm going to mention here tonight are things that my fellow Superior residents have endured themselves in the past many years. And I know not all of them. We're coming up on 4 years since the fire, and I'm just going to tell you my story. I lost my house, of course. I was home. I got my cats. Thank God. I lost my house, and I also lost the headquarters of my nonprofit. I run a nonprofit called Animal Help Now out of my home over here. We lost all of our merchandise, all of our paperwork, etc. It was a big loss, coupled with my own personal losses. I lost not only my neighborhood, because if you go over there now, you see a very different community that's come up there. Those of you who know what it was 4 years ago, you wouldn't recognize it. You would have no chance. I also lost neighbors, that just, people who moved out. Couldn't afford to stay or chose to leave for other reasons. I had a neighbor move in across the street with extremely bright outdoor lights, so I have now lost my night sky. I built tall windows in my primary bedroom so that I could enjoy the night sky, the stars, I could see them. I can no longer see them. Now there's cardboard up to block the light that comes in from across the street. I lost my quiet, my peace, my sleep. I'm not a morning person. Construction every day for a week is bad. Try it every day for 3.5 years. Even if you get an occasional holiday Sunday off, a week is bad enough. 3.5 years, and it's going to go on and on. Now we have the airport flight pass. It's like, what's next? So now I listen to planes every day, and I hear them in the night as well. I heard them this morning. It's just, I feel unprotected by council. I feel as if my needs as a long-time resident of Original Town are not being met, they're not being addressed, they're not being taken seriously. I want to give you an example of that. When I complained to council several months back about the lighting across the street, I received an email back where I had shown photographs of the house across the street. And this is the house next to them. That's certainly a violation of the town code, but this was ignored. And then this is the light in my, oh no. That's the light in my bedroom. Now, I had to get blackout shades. I want you to take these issues seriously. The response I got from the town was, pictures of lights do not provide an objective measurement of light as a camera's aperture width, ISO setting, or other variables determine how light is shown in a photo. I'm like, well, come on over to my house. If you guys are going to be building new codes and new regulations, come over to my house. You're all welcome. Knock first, you know. But come on in. I want to show you what legal lighting looks like for a house across the street of a place like this. I want to show you what the legal lighting looks like. Also, there's birds and there's bats, and they need to be protected by progressive, environmentally friendly councils, towns like our own. They're migrating right now. I encourage you all to go see the migration real time at birdcast.info. I encourage you to go look at that and see what's going on over. Birds don't tend to migrate during the day. They migrate at night, and that's why turning off lights is critical, or dimming them at least. Okay, and then I'd like to see, something done about the construction noise. Please don't make us listen to construction at 7 o'clock in the morning for the next 2 years. Please. I don't know what else to say about that. And then I hope we can do something about the air traffic. This is frustrating. Wow, I've never done that before. Right on time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for your comments.
Next is Ally Lance.
Hello, Town of Superior Council and staff. My name is Ally Lance, and I'm currently a resident of Longmont. I'm the tournament director for the Rocky Mountain Women's Disc Golf Championships that occurred this year at the end of August. I wanted to attend tonight's council meeting so I could express my sincere gratitude to the community of Superior as well as to the town council for its hospitality of our disc golf event at the beautiful Purple Park just up the road. The disc golf tournament was a wonderful experience and success for the 78 ladies who participated and who represented 8 different states, including local women from Colorado. Thank you for allowing us to hold our event at your beautiful park, and thank you to the local businesses who supported the event. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Next is David Harper.
Good evening. As usual, I'm David Harper. And I'm here on behalf of the Rotary Club of Boulder Valley to thank the town and town staff for the assistance you provide for the Beer Fest. In particular, we appreciate the support we get from Michaela Gregg and Alison Humphreys and the good people from Vargas who are a great help with the logistics. This is a challenging time for the craft beer industry, but we were able to attract 20 brewers, including Bambi Brewing and Pat's Taps, and 2 distilleries, and we were pleased to have Bigsby's Folly back as well. We also expanded the range of beers that we serve to Chili Fest participants. Some of the names seem a little wild, But if Lush Puppy Juice IPA or Princess Yum Yum Raspberry Kolsch appeal to you, we have them. This was another good year, and we will use the funds raised to support our scholarship program, youth leadership camps, and dictionary project. I'm pleased to say that 2 young women from Superior were at one of our camps last July. One of them came to speak at our club and said what a positive experience it had been. Superior Elementary and Eldorado PK8 are always included in the dictionary program. So again, thank you for your support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you to the Boulder Valley Rotary for the service to the community. All right, anybody else in the boardroom like to give public comment? All right, seeing none, anybody on Zoom like to give public comment? Going once, going twice. All right, public comment is closed. We are moving right along to our presentation section of the evening, and we have a economic development update tonight. And our brand new economic development
Yeah, I'm
manager.
happy to introduce Ellen Robertson, our new economic development manager. She's been with us for a few months, and I think's had an opportunity to get caught up on activities around town and meet with key stakeholders and within the community and region. And she's got an update for the council tonight.
Oh, maybe. This is the first test. All right. Awesome. Mayor, council, administration, thank you so much for this opportunity. I started here on May 14th, so we are heading into 4 months here, and it has been extraordinary. So I'm very happy to be here and very happy to present to you today. All right, so real quick agenda. We're going to look at new businesses that have been in Superior, opened in Superior in 2025, and new businesses we're expecting to come in, which is already outdated. Thank you to Councilmember Miller for that. Downtown Superior updates for you guys, some Sundance Film Festival information to look at, and then a little overview of our business website. All right, so new businesses 2025. I just put all of them in there. So we got Barnes & Noble, Waxing the City, and CB Arts over in the marketplace. CB Arts has been here, but they this year signed a full commercial lease, so they're no longer a temporary leasee at the marketplace, which is very exciting. And then Bear Hair Removal, Raw Pet Company, Anana Creations, Studio Pilates, Menchie's, and Paul's Coffee and Tea all opened up in the downtown. All on the main street. Paul's Coffee is technically in the sports stable, but you can still see them from the main street, so I think that counts. And then Cedar and Sage Day Spa opened up very recently over in Rock Creek Village. It was their last vacancy at Rock Creek Village, so they're fully booked out right now. And then as of today, InBank has opened their doors at Discovery Office Park, so congratulations on that. Upcoming opening in this September, we're looking at Lindora Weight Loss and Wellness in the marketplace, Trail Fine Jewelry in the marketplace, and Twisted Stitches in the marketplace. And then High Point Chiropractic is looking for at an October opening in the marketplace. So a lot happening in terms of businesses we know are coming. It's just very exciting. Overall retail trends, wanted to throw this out there. So there's a lot going on in this graph. That's all Q1 through 2022 through 2025. So the bar graph shows the vacancy rates for different kind of shopping center areas. And then the line graph shows the market rents per square foot for those same areas. So the boxed one is Superior overall. In terms of the vacancy rate. So the dark purple color on the most right side is 2025. So you can see that we're coming down overall as a town back to almost 2022 levels, which is fantastic considering 2022, most of the downtown hadn't been available yet. So that just shows how well we're doing with getting new businesses into town. So for Q2, our most recent rates that we can see over on the side, average lease rates, $34 per square foot, which is kind of in line with other top tier areas in town, Boulder, things like that, with an average vacancy rate in Superior at 5.7%, which is not bad at all, if I do say so myself. Especially looking at downtown Louisville in 2023, there's that really big gold bar right there. But the line graph, you can see of the average market rents, we are trending upward, similar to downtown Louisville, and then Pearl Street, of course, is still a little bit more expensive than we are. Any questions on this very extensive graph?
Just one question about the average lease rate. So that, I'm assuming, is town-wide?
Yes.
Do we have an idea as to like how the major commercial sectors in Superior kind of vary? Is it similar to that average lease rate, or is there a lot of variety between the marketplace, between downtown, between Rock Creek Village?
I've not seen the data for Rock Creek Village, but the marketplace and the downtown are comparable. So I can get you more numbers later.
Okay.
Or follow up with you. So we threw in some state retail trends. So personal consumption services versus goods. Services being the orange line, goods being the blue line. Both are increasing over the last 5 years, which is very exciting, especially coming out of COVID where that little dip is in the orange line. So services has really come back strongly. Really, we're looking for combinations of services and goods in our retail centers, which really provides kind of the stability and diversity that we're looking for stable retail centers. National trends, retail versus or in-store versus online, just some other good information to have. So in-store really has made a comeback post-COVID. So we're very excited for that because that means we get more stores in our retail centers, and with how great we've been doing, then that certainly is showing here in real life. So online shopping continues to grow, but just not nearly as well as in-store is. So we're very excited and optimistic about getting the downtown filled, the marketplaces, the most filled out as it's been in a number of years, and obviously Rock Creek Village is fully booked out. All right. On to what most people are very much expecting. Are excited to hear about downtown Superior developments. So the Alto Flatirons, I'm sure everyone has seen the crane out there. The cement box that they're putting in is their parking garage. So everything is going along smoothly with them. They have taken on CPRE's Molly and Melissa, the same brokers that the downtown Carmel has brokered with. So they're going to continue to broker the entirety of the downtown for the 2 commercial areas that also Flatirons is going to bring on, in addition to the 251 residential units that they're going to bring online. So they're moving steady and they're expecting completion April of 2027 still. So very excited about that. Hyatt Studios, hopefully everyone has seen now. They have started construction on Tuesday of last week. We're very excited to have them. 114 long stay hotel units. They're gonna have a pool, great amenities. They're very excited to be part of the town, support the downtown businesses, and really get involved in the community. So we're very excited to have them. BBQ Chicken is still working with their architect. They are still looking to move forward with their space in the downtown. So they are hoping late September, early October to sign that lease, and then we'll see where they go from there in terms of submitting to the town. But we've been working with them and having meetings with them, so it should be a pretty smooth process once they get moving. We're very excited, and they're very excited to finally get past that stage. The food hall, we're also expecting something late September or October. Very excited for that to continue to move forward as well. And staff, I believe, are ready to turn that around as well. So get that going and building in the downtown, build out the internal downtown. Bixby's Folly and Craft Winery and Restaurant is also still looking to move forward. So we're also very excited. He is still working on financing, but that will be a very exciting moment when that comes to pass. And then the Coal Creek Innovation Park, staff continue to work with the developers and brokers of that. We've sent a number of potential interests to the developer and their brokers to try and get that leased out and get that underway. So continued efforts there. Any questions? Yes.
Have we heard anything specific about Coal Creek Innovation in terms of, milestones towards when they get to that kind of critical threshold of interest where they're going to break ground and move forward?
No, I've not heard anything. I believe the first time I talked to the developer, they said they were about 15%, and they're looking to be 50% by the time they start construction. So.
Okay.
Question, a couple of slides prior, I was talking about national trends as retail trends. How do these retail trends relate, compare to Denver metro region or Boulder County, if you have that level of granularity?
I have not looked. I can get that information for you, though.
Thank you.
All right. Downtown marketing. So activation of the downtown was, I think, one of the phrases I heard the most when I first started here. So a big shout out to events and communications for making a lot of that happen. But in terms of marketing, what's going on? So this Thursday, we are hosting a Metro Mobile tour in downtown from 8 o'clock to 9:30 in the morning. That is put on by the Downtown Colorado Incorporated and the Colorado Municipal League. So they every year do a Metro Mobile tour to different locations and highlight different financing tools for businesses and development, such as urban renewal authorities, TIF districts, business districts, things like that. So we are their first tour. We get to bring them downtown, show them the development, talk about the history of it and things that are coming up. So we're very excited to do that. Regional connections. So we are a part of the US 36 Collaborative, and part of that is the Hub for Health Impact. So they just recently came out with their report for the last 3 or 4 months, which will be shared with council. But that is, again, for bringing advanced technologies, bio-life science businesses, things like that to the US 36 area. Specifically for us, it'd be that downtown Coal Creek Innovation Park. So have made a number of connections through that effort as well. So you've probably seen a ton of that on LinkedIn if you're connected with me on LinkedIn. I've also been meeting with a number of other regional connections, sharing things that are happening in the downtown, the Boulder Chamber, trying to figure out how we can get additional events, people, things into the downtown area as a stop, make sure that it becomes a normal point of contact for people who want to come and see what's going on. Visitor Center, we have recently started efforts to create materials, gather materials for the civic space to create a kind of visitor center area, partly in preparation for the Sundance Film Festival, make sure that we have materials showcasing how great Superior is, what things that are to do here, and just all the great things that we do. So we're in process of that. The downtown events have been a wonderful showcase and activation of the downtown, bringing people downtown. We've gotten great feedback from a lot of the businesses that those are some of the best days that they have. And so really can't thank events and communications enough for putting those on and how great they are. Shop Superior, we have also been working on a consumer attraction brand that we're hoping will I'm hoping will lay the groundwork for a lot of marketing campaigns to bring people to shop in Superior. So part of that will be highlighting downtown, the different marketplace, Rock Creek Village, just kind of different ways that we can have people shop Superior. The start of that, we're looking to be kind of a social media campaign, make sure that it works, follow people around, and just get in people's minds to shop Superior. Downtown signs. So this is another thing I believe was talked about prior to me coming here, and now we're getting around to it. So the downtown monument signs that are going to be put up for the downtown will not be put in until the Coal Creek Innovation Park gets built out. So in the meantime, I call them Martin calls them long-term temporary signs that the town can put up to support the businesses in the downtown. So this is a mock-up that communications put together of what one might look like that we would put up around the McCaslin Boulevard Main Street roundabout area in the town's right-of-way that would say, here's our downtown and here's the businesses that are in our downtown, focusing on the commercial leased businesses with the option to add more as we get more in.
Yeah, and I think we're looking for feedback on these signs. One question is, do we want to try to include all the businesses along Main Street? We would need to probably make a wider sign so we could have more panels. And then also, we talked about doing something similar at Colton and McCaslin for the Rock Creek Village Center, and your thoughts on that as well. If you have any feedback for us, it'd be great.
Do you want that now?
You can be offline.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm directionally supportive of any and all signage that we can have to advertise the businesses, especially downtown. I know that we've been hearing for years how they want that monument sign in, and last I heard from Bill Jenks, the cost associated with the monument sign is just pretty astronomical, and at least that's what he mentioned to me. So I think that all these businesses could really benefit from some signage out there to let people know. And I don't understand why the permanent monument signage isn't more of a priority from the developer's perspective. It should be, but here we are. So I'm all in favor of letting people know about the businesses that we have downtown, because every single day I'm meeting people who say that they've never been downtown. They had no idea that he was even there. They didn't know that there were these great businesses down there. So everything that we can do to help them makes sense. But we don't want to necessarily have it cluttered so it can't be read. So striking a balance between having a sign that includes everybody but ends up not being kind of readable or useful is, I guess, kind of where I would draw that line.
Yeah, I would also support signage for attracting businesses or customers, traffic into downtown and even Coal Creek Village. I mean, anything we can do to support and get foot traffic to Superior businesses is great in my mind.
Yeah, to Mark's point, I hear a lot from people that say they didn't even know we had a downtown, and those are residents, which I'm like, how do you not know we have a downtown? So I think signage would be great. And then in addition to Rock Creek Village, having one as well, that's a state highway, and I think a lot of people, again, just keep blowing through that roundabout and don't even know that, a quarter, half a mile down the road, there's a bunch of eateries. And so anything we can do to draw visibility to that too, I think would be a plus.
Awesome. All right, Sundance Film Festival, a quick local update. So there's not much additional to share in terms of what's happened. So they are still focusing on their 2026 in Utah right now, but they have been looking to hire staff here in the Boulder County office, and they've started meeting with kind of more of the Boulder people. So Visit Boulder is the organization that is currently hosting them. The Boulder Chamber has also been doing a lot of work for them. This October, the Chamber is going to be putting together a meeting with RTD and DIA to start the conversation around how do you get that many people from DIA to their destinations in the Boulder area. And so that's an ongoing conversation. I'm continuing to work to have meetings with Visit Boulder on a number of different things, but this being one of them. How can we make sure that we're having a seat at the table? We're also coordinating with the Superior Chamber, so they are also working with the Chamber Consortium that is headed by Boulder Chamber to make sure that everyone understands what's going on with Sundance, make sure that we know what's going on so that we can plan accordingly in terms of programming, events, spaces, availabilities, things like that. So those conversations are absolutely ongoing, but I thought it would be interesting to look at some placer information of the 2025 that happened in Park City, Utah. So Placer is a software that tracks the GPS data on your phone. So it can show us when you cross a boundary. They draw boundaries on maps, and if you cross that boundary, then you have been counted as a visitor. And so we can look and track visitors, where they've come from, where they go to, what are their favorite places when they're in the area, things like how long did they stay in the area. It's a little creepy, but that's all right. So that's just some fun overview information and things that we can, or that can help us prepare for what might be coming our way. So the Sundance Film Festival, Park City, Utah resident population is 8.6 thousand people. The daytime population, so people who drive in, who have their jobs there, work there, sit in an office on a regular basis, around 18.5 thousand people. So out of market visitors for those 2 weeks of the Sundance Film Festival, they have approximately 250,000 people go to Park City during those 2 weeks. So just a little bump in population that we'll be looking, that we'll be able to show how wonderful Superior is. Sundance Film Festival, I keep reading the title. It can also show us where they come from only in the United States, so this does not account for international travelers and visitors. But you can see top visitors by state. Utah had the most, California, New York, Florida, and Texas. Obviously, once that shifts to Colorado, we'll be seeing a different makeup. Probably mostly Colorado will move up that list as well. It also shows hourly activities. So if you're not familiar with Sundance, they do like midnight showings and showings around the clock. So this will help us be able to plan around the clock activities. Do we need businesses to be open? Things like that we can think about. This is what they saw this year. And how is that going to impact us in the area? Obviously, Boulder will be the most impacted, but we're right on the way. And we're going to do what we can to get people here. So just some fun information that we can use to help plan ahead. And then Superior Business is the Town of Superior's business website, and I think it looks fantastic. We have been working on updating the information, making it more user-friendly, putting a lot more information on there. So one of the pages that we are very, very close to putting out there that I wanted to make sure that people saw is our business resources page. So right now under resources, it comes up with some mostly financial resources. So we have expanded that to a page with financial resources and expanded what we show on there, including utility grants and programs and things like that. Business development opportunities, things with SBDC, continuing education opportunities for businesses, networking opportunities, workforce development, all these things are going to be listed on our website. People can click through, see them. My contact information is also on every single page of the website if anyone needs to get a hold of me. But also on that front page, there will be a schedule a meeting box so they can click there and get a 30-minute meeting and put it directly on my calendar. If anyone needs to set a meeting with me or a business wants a site visit, they're very welcome to do that or email me. And also I wanted to point out the social media request form. So that will also go live. So currently the town posts ribbon cuttings, grand openings, things like that. So this was just mostly formalizing that, but also people can also request that the town do that for them. Most people know the chamber does the ribbon cuttings, but the town can also do ribbon cuttings in case they're not members of the chamber, don't want to do that. So I also just wanted to point that out. And that's it. Questions,
All right.
Discussion?
Questions?
Ellen, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Back on the first slide, you talked about some of the new businesses that have come into Superior in 2025, which is super exciting. But my wife and I go to Waxing the City, and their Wi-Fi there is horrible. And I know they have they've lost a lot of business because people aren't able to call in or they're not able to process payments because the Wi-Fi signal is just really, really bad. And so I'm wondering, what, if anything, the town can do to have a conversation with Brixmor or Comcast or something to boost the signal or get some stronger connection to that, because I'd hate to see them go out of business because they can't take a payment.
Yeah, we can always have the conversation. I have pretty regular meetings with Julie from Brixmor, so we can actually have that conversation and see what the
talking
issue
about
is.
the cell signal there?
Yeah, cell signal and Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi, but it is just really, really bad, and it can take a good 10 to 15 minutes to process a payment because the signal is just really poor. And my understanding is they've reached out to Brixmor, and Brixmor said, not our thing. It's not our concern. So, but Brixmor expects their lease to be paid on time. So I don't know if Brixmor has any influence over being able to boost the signal or work with Comcast to run a line.
I'm sure it depends what the problem is. So yeah, something we can look into.
I mean, provided that they're getting decent bandwidth from like Comcast or wherever they're getting their internet, they should be able to have enough Wi-Fi on their premises. I know that that area struggles with like AT&T and Verizon coverage, and I believe that there's a Verizon or maybe an AT&T antenna that's being installed in Louisville currently, like somewhere off of McCaslin.
There's the cell site right next to the CDOT facility too, that maybe we can look into seeing if we could do something there. But I know when we had offices in the marketplace, we had to pay to have fiber installed or infrastructure installed to boost the signal for those office spaces. So
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting the town paid.
No, yeah. But it is an issue for sure.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thanks for the additions of the meeting scheduling, because one of the common things that we would hear from folks is that they didn't know how or where to try to talk to our economic development manager, and not that she wasn't available, but that it was just not that easy for them. And that's really awesome, because somebody making it easy for them where they're maybe on the fence of like, I think I want to talk to someone, but I don't know. And like, you just made it really easy for them. And that's going to be a great way to track that and see what kind of activities happening. I did want to know, and this is probably not a now thing, but the nighttime activity from Sundance, I wasn't expecting that, and that's certainly not going to work with all of our like curfew and quiets and all the. So I just want to flag that like we're going to have to figure out what that looks like for our town in terms of support systems and how we modify things for that, and also like police and like whatever it is that we're going to need. That was a little mind-blowing to see the numbers. And I know they're not coming to Superior, but they're going to Boulder, but we're right there. So that was great. That's great information to really paint a picture of what that's going to look like. So thanks.
Ellen, thank you for the presentation. We're really thrilled to have you here working with us. I had two questions that I have. First, on like the vacancy rate. So I want to suggest, and we've talked about this previously. I think one of the challenges with the vacancy rate, and I know that that's how we're going to be able to compare ourselves with our neighbors, right? Like looking at everybody's vacancy rates. But when we're looking like specifically at like how we're doing, given that we have a lot of big boxes that are responsible for so much square footage, it's easy to kind of skew the numbers by looking at like, oh, we've got a very low vacancy rate, but we've got Targets and Costco's and Whole Foods and Safeways and these big boxes that are such a large percentage of the kind of retail square footage on a whole. And what I'd like to see us focus on, not necessarily to the exclusion of that, but just in addition to it, is really looking at like the opportunity areas in town where, maybe these are some smaller storefronts on a per square footage basis. But when you drive into a specific area of like the Superior Marketplace and you see 4 empty storefronts, it gives the appearance that this area is struggling. Or when you drive downtown and most of the storefronts there are vacant, that doesn't project, confidence in a thriving, development there. So I'd like us to kind of look at like how downtown is doing like as a whole, and not skew it with, well, we've got the sports stable there, which is a large commercial presence. So therefore, all of the storefronts along Main Street kind of get lost in that total square footage. So I'd like us to kind of like try to quantify in some way all of the units on Main Street and what percentage of those Main Street frontage units are vacant versus filled. And then, similarly, and like right now, the Rock Creek Village is pretty much leased out entirely. The marketplace is actually doing really well, and I think we're we're fuller than we've, I think, ever been since I've been on the town council. So I think like Brixmoor's done actually a really good job of leasing it. But when we have these times where we go through some economic challenges and we've got certain areas that are becoming more vacant, I'd like to see us kind of focus on those like opportunity areas rather than just kind of painting with a broad brush, our vacancy rate is only 6%, so therefore everything is fine. When if you looked at that area in isolation, it would just appear to be like desolate and abandoned. So that's one point. And then like second, specific to Main Street. So we've been offering incentives, not just to the Main Street businesses, but to all businesses in town. We've got an incentive program. We've been doing a lot of work with planning events. We're now putting up signs. But at the end of the day, we don't own the property. We're not signing the leases. So I guess the questions that I have really with respect to like Main Street is, what is the challenge right now? Is it the lease rates? Are they too expensive compared to Boulder, Louisville, Lafayette, what our competitors are doing? Is it more macro issues? Is it just kind of the interest rate environment that we're in right now that is cost prohibitive to open up a business? So like, what are the challenges and, what is CBRE doing to address that? I know those are big rambling questions, but those are kind of like the big ticket kind of items that I'm really focused on from an economic development perspective, because we can only do so much. We're not signing the leases. We're not setting the lease rates. And no incentive is going to be big enough if the lease rates are too high, or the interest rates are too high to get somebody to open up a business. So I'd like to better understand what those challenges are. And I'm not necessarily putting you on the spot now, but if you want to get back to us with your thoughts on that,
Sure.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. I do have the vacancy rates for the downtown. The live work units are 67% vacant, and the commercial on Main Street are 52% vacant.
Okay.
And I'll
Right.
get back to you on the
Yeah,
rest.
of course. Yeah, I just want us to think creatively as to like how we can, at a certain point, we can only do so much from a government perspective, and the market needs to do what the market's going to do. But I'd like to understand what are the hurdles that are in the market right now, and is that a conversation with the owner of the property as to maybe they're being unrealistic with the lease rates that they're trying to get, and maybe they have a plan in place where they're going to test the waters for a certain period of time and then they're going to lower their lease rates. But we don't want to see a project stall and sit idle for years and years and years. We want to see it thriving. So anything that we can do to work collaboratively with the developer, I think is a good thing.
Absolutely.
I just want to add, it's a really special time when you come into something with new eyes, and we don't get that very often. And so I just want to make sure that you know that whatever you see and whatever you feel like sharing, I think that I'm not alone in saying this, is that you can see something differently than we can see right now. So I don't ever want you to be like to hold back, right? So if there's some, and however you communicate that to us, just know that I think everybody's really receptive to hearing whatever it is that you're experiencing, because in another few months, you're just going to be part of the machine of Superior and you won't see it the same way. And so if there's anything if there's a time to share things that maybe might even be uncomfortable saying, like, we're open. And I want to make sure that you know that. So thanks.
100%. Just because we've been doing it this way doesn't mean we should be doing it that way. So feel free to challenge.
Happily.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Anything further for Ellen? All right. Thanks for the presentation, and thanks for coming to Superior and working with us. And we look forward to
For having me.
seeing what you're going to do for us going forward. All right. Thank you. All right. We're on to item 4, which is our consent agenda. We've pulled item 4H. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items 4A through G. I through M.
So moved.
Got a motion from Councilmember Foster
Second.
and a second from Councilmember Craycraft. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Councilmember Craycraft,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Serbu,
Yes.
Mayor Lasis,
Yes.
Councilmember Cowish.
Yes.
All right, passes 6-0. I pulled 4H, which is consideration of the resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Superior approving the agreement with Save a Tree to provide the 2025-2026 holiday lighting decor program. To just have the discussion before we approve the contract, if there's any appetite on the board to potentially revisit what we're decorating and not be Scrooges and not destroy everybody's holiday season in 2025. This is my reasoning. I know we've been talking about this for years, and I'm directionally supportive of what the town council has done. And what we did in past years was, supplementing the lighting in the Rock Creek neighborhood after the Rock Creek HOA discontinued their revenue share with us. So they used to contribute $50,000 a year. They stopped doing that after the Marshall Fire. The town picked up the bill because we wanted to bring back some sense of joy and normalcy to the community. And obviously there was a hope that the HOA would kind of restart their contribution to it. They haven't to date. And so far, the town has been footing the bill for it and has had wonderful holiday lighting displays throughout Superior. Everybody loves it. This year is the first year where we're actually not going to do it in the same manner in which we've done it in years past. The HOA is currently not planning on doing it either. So there's going to be a dramatic difference in what our residents are going to see this year versus what they experienced last year. They're not going to care whether it's the HOA paying for it or the town paying for it. They're just going to see that there's a lot of lights that are missing, and we're going to hear about it. So the question is, are we being penny wise and pound foolish? We're just inviting a problem here. I get it's not fair. I get it's not right. I'm just curious as to whether or not the council has any appetite to supplement this just to avoid dealing with the blowback from the community, which we will hear.
I'm happy to go first. I think that there are a lot of things historically in this town that people have received because the town has just absorbed it over the years. And in the work that we're doing, trying to get the budget right and trying to ensure that money is going to the appropriate places and that we are a sustainable government and the right people are paying for the right things, this is just more of that behavior of doing the thing because people are going to be maybe have strong feelings about it versus us doing what is fiscally responsible. So I'm a no. Scrooge it up. I don't like this is the HOA needs to step up and do this. And I think the longer we keep this Band-Aid on, the longer it's going to go on. And there's never going to be a good year to stop. It won't be. So.
And for the record, I appreciate that. We did send out a proposal to the HOA with the specific areas in town that we have hung lights in the past, asked the HOA, would you like to participate with us in our contract so we can continue this? So it's not coming as a surprise to the HOA in terms of the areas they know that they're on notice. I think that they actually may have either done an RFP or something like that, and they went looking for potential vendors, but at least as far as I'm aware right now, they're not planning on doing anything this year.
It'd be great if they communicated with us in some capacity so that we would know. And it'd be a lot nicer of an experience to, if let's say they were planning it, maybe budgeting it next year, that we got through this year. But having zero communication from them on this is problematic. And we have asked, and I don't know what else to do to get a response. But I don't think that it's the town absorbing it again. The rationale was really clear of we should be investing this into the economic centers and not putting the lights at the town's expense in specific neighborhoods, because it was the concept was if we're going to do it for one of them, then we should be doing it for all of them. And I think that we should be communicating ahead of time, and that when the complaints do come, that we have a drafted response of this is what we did to try to work with the HOA. They knew this was coming. I understand that people aren't going to care who it was. It's never not going to come up in the middle of the holiday when the lights aren't there. So I think we have to face the decision that we made and be the Scrooge or the Grinch or whatever. Otherwise, when does it stop? It's not, the HOA isn't going to go oh, they did it this year, so next year we'll actually do it. They're going to just not do it. And I'm fine with holding the boundary on this one. So I'm sorry. If you want to be Santa right now, I'm going to be the Grinch.
Others?
I'll just echo everything that Jen said. I don't have anything new to add. I really, if the town's going to foot the bill for this, then I think we need to be focusing on our economic centers and to promote business and make those places destinations for shopping in the holiday season. And if the neighborhoods want to get together and string up lights and pay for that, then, if we can facilitate that as a town government, great, but I don't think the town should be paying for it.
Jason, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of echo what Jen said. Jen, don't apologize. You're absolutely right. We've reached out to the HOA time and time again to have a conversation on this, and they do not want to talk to us. This is kind of, it's almost comical to the point of being a farce, because it's almost like one of those ridiculous rom-coms where two people used to be in love or like each other and now they don't talk to each other, and you're trying to get, hey, can I have a conversation? Just, you know what? We've done everything we possibly been able to do to get them to the table to talk about this, and they don't want to do that. And in fact, there was a post on Facebook about this, and somebody actually made the absolute zeroed in post, hey, well, maybe you should send an email to the HOA, and this is really the people that need to come and talk to us. We've footed the bill for many, many years, and for us to continue to do that, I just think is just, like you said, we have fiscal responsibilities that we need to take advantage of and hold to, so that we don't go into the red a lot, and they could be a good partner. And as far as I'm concerned, Jen, no apologies. We hold the line to what we said we were going to do, because this is good for the town. It is the best interest of the town to do what we're doing. That's it.
I should clarify, my apology was to Mark, because you can't see his face right now. But he looks a little sad.
I apologize to Mark all you want. That's cool.
I'm not going to apologize that I love Christmas.
Yeah, any of the holidays, that you celebrate, we're doing the best we can, and if you want to fault us for that, people can send us more angry emails. I think we're doing the right thing.
We will get them.
Yeah, of course, we always get them, but I believe we are doing the right thing that's actually in the best interest of the town fiscally.
Heather?
Yes, Mayor. I'm going to stick with my original intention too, was to support our Shop Superior efforts and focus the lights there. I'm sorry I didn't have a change of heart, but I think it will be a concerted effort this year, which with the efforts of what we just heard from our newest addition, Miss Ellen, will be a great combination, I think, and we'll stick together. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I mean, I will always try to save the holidays and do what I can. So, but it's all good.
My heartstrings have been pulled really hard.
Yeah, all the children of Superior, when they wake up on a snowy winter's eve in the dark with no lights in the trees to light their way when they come to Winterfest. Okay, fair enough. I thought I'd try. I do think that it's one of those situations where sometimes there's a time to do what's right, and sometimes there's a time to do what's necessary. And this may be one of the times to do what's necessary because that's what people, no, not because it's right, but because that's what people actually want. And we're just inviting blowback. But I understand where everybody's heads are. I appreciate you entertaining my request.
We're also having a budget session on Wednesday, so that part's also fresh in my brain. So.
But that's next year's problem.
Yeah, for me, as much as I love Christmas, and I love Christmas, you know, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be financial stewards of all of our residents' tax money, and, you know, we've talked about it not being fair, which it's not, but I think if we're going to be focusing our efforts with the finances that we have, it should be on our commercial centers and driving business in a sense of place, and hopefully the HOA can step up and start doing what they used to do next year.
All right, well, I appreciate everybody entertaining my ask. My ask was going to be to essentially go back to what we did last year for this year and try to figure out a situation with the HOA next year, but I presume that that's not something that people want to entertain. So I will be voting no on this motion. So if somebody wants to make a motion to approve.
Just as a comment.
I'll make the motion.
I was just going to say, for me, I would be much more on board with what your proposal is if the HOA, to Jen's point, had any communication with us about that. And then I may be like, okay, well, if you're planning on doing it next year and picking up where you dropped the ball a few years ago, then yeah, we'll do one more year. But they haven't talked to us about that. And cool. So
I get it.
I feel like they would just keep doing this in perpetuity.
So I will move that we approve Town of Superior Resolution R-65, Series 2025, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Superior approving an agreement with Save-A-Tree for the installation of the holiday lighting decor for the town.
All right, we've got a motion from Councilmember Foster,
Second.
second from Councilmember Cowish. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Craycraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Serbu,
Yes.
Mayor Lasis,
No.
Councilmember Cowish.
Yes.
All right, passes 5-1. Okay, we are now on to item 5, which is a public hearing on the Kite Route Crossing Final Development Plan and approval of the development agreement with Kite Route Crossing LLC. Do we have proof of publication? We do. All right. Gavel in the public hearing.
Thanks, Mayor. Jeffrey is with us tonight. He's got an introduction for this item, and then we'll turn it over to the applicant. Thanks,
Great.
Jeffrey.
Thanks so much. I'm Jeffrey Weathers. I'm a planner for the Town of Superior, and I'm here to give a brief overview of the final development plan for the Kite Route Crossing development. The applicant is also here, and they'll give a presentation in more depth. We'll also do Chase is here for the traditional flyover of the area. Thank you. Yes. Thanks. I knew I'd find it eventually. Okay. The project is located in downtown Superior along Old Railway between Marshall and Gateway. And it's about a 1.8 acre site. You can see outlined in red right there on Lot 21, Block 1 of the Discovery Office Park PD. The project is proposing to build 50 units of 100% senior affordable housing in a 3-story building, which is going to be 2 living space floors over a parking garage. This is a little table with how the site design compares to the PD. Basically, this demonstrates that it's generally compliant. I won't go through all the details, but the setbacks and the building height are compliant with the PD requirements. They are going to ask for one exception for an encroachment of an external staircase on the sun deck on the west side into that setback, which I'll discuss in more detail in just a sec. As far as parking goes, they are meeting and exceeding the parking ratio required by the PD by about 10 spaces. Those are going to be compact spaces, but the spaces that are required are the regular 9 by 20 spaces that the code requires. The proposal also meets the EV parking requirements for the town. The town has offered the applicant the opportunity to exchange 2 of those EV installed spaces or 4 EV ready spaces for an on-street EV car share station. If they wanted to do that instead, they can choose to do that at the time of building permit if we find it mutually agreeable. They are also providing 26 covered bike parking stalls for bike parking. The exception is circled here. You can see, it's kind of circled, not a very good circle. But the sun deck there is circled, and the stairs off to the left are the stairs in question. The Discovery Office Park PD prohibits decks, patios, architectural elements, or similar items into the setbacks or residential lots. I'm not sure this is what they had in mind, but it would apply here. So an exception is being requested for a 4.6 foot side setback encroachment for the staircase. It's not really adjacent to any other buildings now or in the future. It's going to be private and gated, so staff doesn't really see this as being having too many potential negative impacts. So we have no objection to approval of this exception request. On August 19th, the Planning Commission approved a resolution recommending the Town Council approve the Kite Route Crossing FDP if the Council agrees and that the application meets the criteria of the code. Staff has provided a resolution approving the Discovery Office Park Final Development Plan Number 4 for Lot 21, Block 1 of Discovery Office Park, Plan Development Number 2. With the following conditions, the applicant shall make minor technical and red line corrections to the plans as identified by town staff and directed by the town board. That's my brief summary. I'll be around if anybody has any questions for me. And I think Chase is next, and then the applicant will give a presentation.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Take it away, Chase. All right, we got to get Chase queued up. Do we need to toggle Zoom over there? There he is.
His mics. Jace, your mic might be off.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Now we can, yes.
All right. So I'll just do a couple of the obvious approaches to the Kite Route Crossing development, and then you guys, as per usual, can request anything you'd like. So just right here to kind of point it out first. Let me land here gracefully. This is us here on the left. Maybe let's back out here and kind of approach from the roundabout again. So maybe shift that a little bit here. Better lighting. So that's the stairs there up on the right that we're just talking about. Maybe here from up above. So I'm going to try to kind of slide along the front side of kind of these decks here at the lower height, and then maybe we'll go back around and kind of look at maybe a couple spots at the kind of from some upper floors. So we're looking right here is the Kite Road Crossing building. Turn you guys off. And then let's kind of go to a couple of these upper story windows. Another couple of adjacent kind of upper stories. Any other vantage points that you guys would like to see it from?
What time of day is this?
Excellent question. Today, September, I guess it's actually tomorrow, September 9th, kind of 2:30 in the afternoon. They're going to shift it back to June here at 10:30 in the morning.
Is it possible to zoom into the sun deck and look west?
Yeah, sun deck, this guy right here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, admittedly, kind of the vegetation in this simulation is, pretty conceptual. I mean, the locations kind of for the planting plans are accurate, but obviously kind of grow height and stuff like that is, a little more relative. I can toggle off trees though.
Yeah, the only reason why I ask is the project narrative talks about views of the Flatirons, and if we've got vegetation in the apartment building.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's adequate to say that there are some views to it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other vantage points or time stay?
I don't think so. Anybody else want to see anything? Nope, I think we're good. Chase, as always, we really appreciate having these 3D renderings. It's so helpful for us to visualize what something's actually going to look like. It's
Well, I
way
appreciate
different
it,
than
and
looking at a two-dimensional image on paper versus seeing your renderings. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I think this might be the last project in here.
Well, it's been a wild ride. So
Well, I appreciate it.
thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Time for the applicant's presentation.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Chase, for your work on this project. Good evening, council members. My name is Brad Weinig. I'm a representative of Penrose, the applicant in this case. My role is just to quickly kind of remind you of who our team is, refresh your memory on kind of where we've been together on this project, and then turn it over to our design team to talk through the FDP itself. Jeffrey, is there a...
That's right here.
Oh, yep.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, so again, here's our team. I think you've seen Shannon before. She's not able to be here tonight. Michael and I are here in the audience. You'll recognize Andy and Sean from SAR. You'll hear from Andy momentarily. You all know Jim, I think, very well at this point. And then rounding out our team are Marcia Blunt, who heads up our national property management team, our operation nationally, and then Ben Blackburn from Innova. I think it's important to kind of remind everybody that Innova is a national partner of ours, works in all of our projects as an owner's representative, and really maintains and updates consistently what we call our Penrose design standard, and works with our design and construction teams kind of from concept origination all the way to and through construction completion to make sure that kind of the standards that we feel are critically important for our projects, because we are long-term owner operators, are maintained and upheld. So quickly, you know, what you get with Penrose, we like to kind of say here is you kind of get the best of both worlds between a national strength of our organization. We've been around for 50 years. Affordable housing is our bread and butter, is what we do in states and markets throughout the country. And so you've got that national expertise, that experience, but Michael and Shannon and I are all right here, right? We live between Denver and Boulder and care very much about this community, and are working on all these variety of projects throughout the metro area and state that we're very proud of, and we continue to hopefully elevate our standard with each given project that we work on. So just as a quick reminder, we were here in front of this council in April of last year to finalize and adopt a plan development amendment where we committed to ensuring kind of what we talked about doing, we put onto paper. So again, affordable housing for seniors age 55 and up is what we've committed to creating here. We listened to you all in the community and our neighbors to the south in particular about the concerns over view planes, and so we wanted to commit that we would not be above a certain height elevation, and in fact I think we're lower than even the townhomes across the street from us. We committed to a parking commitment of 0.6 spaces, and we're actually achieving 0.8 spaces, as Jeffrey mentioned, as well as some of the other setbacks and commitments that we codified in this plan to really make clear what we were trying to do, and we've done our very best to stick to that. In terms of milestones and timing, thanks to the support from this town, we were able to successfully achieve an award of low-income housing tax credits from the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, which is a hugely critical path, because without those, there is no affordable housing project. And since we got that award, we really went back to not back to the drawing board, but really refreshed and I think dramatically improved our designs from the last time that this body has seen it, that we feel very proud of what we've accomplished to date and what we intend to accomplish moving forward. As Jeffrey mentioned, we were here a month ago in front of the Planning Commission, where we received kind of unanimous support to advance to be in front of you all this evening. Hopefully everything goes well this evening as well, and if so, that puts us on an anticipated path towards hopefully permit approval in December of this year, and hopefully starting construction in January of next year, which would then allow us to complete the project in the summer of 2027 and start to move people in. And so we're excited about the process that we've led to date. We're proud of it, and we're really excited to see this project come to fruition. And so with that in mind, I am going to turn it over to Andy Rockmore from SAR to talk through the specifics of the final development plan proposal. So thank you again for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Good evening. I'm Andy Rockmore, SAR Architects, and we're grateful to be here talking about what has come to be Kite Route Crossing. As Brad said, we were here in April talking about how to set appropriate constraints. What were the objectives? How do we take a really difficult site and allow for a design that could be successful? So it's really interesting now to come back and show you what has become of that. So these are just beyond trying to be a part of the remedy of the lack of affordability in your town and in many others. We set out to hit just these four of many, many objectives, but these are really the key. And of course, the first is the incredibly well-developed fabric that you already have. We seek to be a good neighbor and to fit in. You have great bones, great blood work in your town center. And we want to be a part of that, be a good neighbor, not necessarily to stand out, but to fit in. And these next two and three, make it quite a unique challenge, minimizing the height impact on this very tricky site. And of course, solving for the current topographic constraints, which is a real fancy way of saying, how do you build a building in a hill? And we'll show you how we've attempted to do that. And of course, the last one, which is really interesting, is celebrating the site's history. For those of you, do I go down or up? Oh, it's this way. So this is a really interesting site in your town and in the entire region. It's Old Railway was the previous home of the Denver Interurban Railroad. So it's an electric train that ran from 1908 to 1930, and it connected all these towns that you can see here on the left. Electric, which is amazing, way ahead of its time. But that train came right down Old Railway. And you can see the site there, if I have a pointer. Here, this is you guys. We think that that's pretty unique, and that all sites have a story to tell. So this is a rendering of what will happen right inside the front door of our building. We will be telling that story. And it's really impacted not only just giving the heritage and the history of the site, but we've pulled in, we've looked at a lot of the old rail cars, and we're using some of the lighting elements, the fabrics, the materials. It really is driving a lot of the concept. We're having a good time with it. So that story is really interesting. People who live here should know that story, should live that story. And this project can do a great job in doing so. Like I said, it's quite a challenge to take a long and low building and not really have it feel so long and so low. So a few things that we have done here, intentionally broken it up. Sorry, I'll go back. We've tried to partition it, fragment it, and give it as much of a vertical expression as possible. So we've broken it into these 25-foot segments. That's an historic lot size in your town and many others. So it has some reference to the past and comfort and texture as one moves down the street. We've also located certain program elements in specific places to highlight them, and I'll show you just briefly this is a quick plan of the first floor. So we have our parking on this side, and then so that it's mostly visible from Gateway Drive, we've placed all of the common functions, the public functions, the bike parking, the meeting areas, the main entry. This is one of the only places that you really view the building head on. In this site, you mostly get these oblique views down the street, so you see it at a very sharp angle. So we've chosen intentionally to place all of those public functions here and put the parking on the tail end. And then, so that's all sort of horizontal strategy. Vertical strategy, again, is to keep it as low as possible so that we protect and respect the existing views of the neighbors who live on Canary Lane. You can see here, this is just the only place that our stair projects to provide roof access, and elevator is required to puncture through the roof plane, but we've managed to push this building as low as possible to keep it flush with the ground plane and do all of that in under 36 feet. One of the other things that we talked about when we first came back in April was that we saw this site, as many would see this site as having a front, which is the street, and a back, which is the hill. But we know the sensitivity to all of the neighbors who live up on Canary Lane, and it's been really important. It's a good point. What I mean by living up to the values and the fabric that's already in place in the town center. These are all good buildings that you all have made. This is a good example of what that does. We are not treating this as a back, much like all the other buildings in town. So we are, again, intentionally fragmenting the building, looking at creating relief and nice vertical window proportions and keeping it, as I said, as low as possible so that the views aren't obstructed. As we move into a little bit more detail, how we do this, as we break up the building vertically, we also look at how it all works together, the composition together. And one of the ways that we do that as architects is to look at proportions. And an example of that is that the proportion of this primary element here is the same as the proportion in this window and the same as the proportion in this larger opening. When you do that, when you work with a proportional system, you get composition that's coherent, that's fancy architects like to say that's at rest. So everything sort of fits together, rather than using different elements to jump out. So again, what we're trying to do is break all of this up into smaller pieces, but have it all be coherent as a whole. Then further from that, we intentionally placed these units in a way that gives us variety, especially on the ground floor where people walk up to. So instead of having the same element every time, we move in and out from these living areas with Juliet balconies so that people can kind of stick their heads out, look up and down the street, look to the west, of course, and that gets the facade to be a more livable building. You see the activity within it. And then these more quiet bays that come all the way down to the ground, durable materials at the base where people walk by, and a good amount of masonry here with light into the garage. Most parking structures in these types of projects do not have daylight. There's no reason to. So many people think, however, on the first floor here, and as people are walking by, we need that activity. And also it gives plenty of daylight into the garage area, as well as natural ventilation. So this is still using brick facade, brick veneer, in a more creative way, and we frame that opening so that it works with the larger openings of the building. So we get a lot of variety. Every time we step back, Brad mentioned the amount of the building that needs to be from 0 to 3 feet is 70 to 80% of this building is on the property line where you want it. But we're also pushing back, and where we're pushing back, we're allowing moments for anyone to rest and kind of feel like they can use the building. It's a relatively tight sidewalk here. I press the wrong button every single time. On the end, this is the public deck that we sent. One of the kind of fun little riffs we've had of the kite route and the shape of the kite. We had a number of different ways to protect this from the harsh western sun. We looked at trellises and everything, and we ended up playing with these kite forms as a way to just add a little levity, a little youth and fun to the building, and lighten it up. And also, as I mentioned, that this is really that part of the building that you see from a distance. This also shows this stair. And I want to be clear here, we don't, we want this stair, we think it helps. We don't need this stair. Everyone could occupy the deck from inside the building. The people who live and who occupy all of these common spaces could go up an elevator or a stair and access that. But it just seems consistent with the community feeling, the community mindset of this building, that we would allow multiple access points, and it's a relatively narrow stair. And as Jeffrey said, there's no one in the adjacent piece, and we don't imagine anyone but a few bunnies ever will be. So we think the stair is appropriate. Again, you can see how the heavy masonry base that works down the street comes in and starts to lighten up into these columns and lets the abundance of glass and daylight signifying the more public common functions of the building. And then this is another shot that shows really just about every piece of the building is in this piece, including the stairs. I didn't mention the stairs. This is a 3-story building. We find in many relatively low buildings, it's far more convenient to use the stairs than the elevator. So we think that that is an opportunity, again, to build community, to see your neighbors. We've flooded it with as much daylight as possible so that you can see the activity coming up and down. You can get views from wherever you are in the stairway, and again, highlight that common, we're trying to really push the common spaces and the community spaces throughout the project. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple questions. Can we talk about the roof AC units and the screening question?
Yes.
Obviously we've got a lot of neighbors directly to the south there that are going to be looking down. I believe all the AC units in the area surrounding is all screened. So,
yes,
just kind of from a consistency perspective, can you just speak about that design decision and
yes,
how it impacts everything?
Sure. Thank you for the question. We also spoke about this and debated and discussed it with the Planning Commission. Because of their location where they're positioned in the center of the building, they're not required. In other words, the screen, they need to be close enough to the edge to require screening. However, and we did debate whether we should screen it, but those screens, we said, well, you're either looking at a screen or you're looking at the mechanical units. So and the screen is likely to be 42 inches. Those mechanical units are 36 inches. So in the spirit of keeping everything as low as possible and not creating large pieces, and this is subjective, not creating large screens where you would likely come across this entire area with a screen that's taller than those units, we said, well, I'd rather look through condensers or over condensers and everything rather than look at an opaque mechanical screen. Like I said, that was the logic. Happy to debate it and talk about it further.
Okay. Was cost a concern with that design, or screens relatively cheap in the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme, are relatively cheap. But again, we thought we were probably obstructing the views more with the screens than without.
All right. And then can we also talk about the parking spaces and you know, how that's laid out? Do we have the right balance? I know there's like 10 compact parking spaces here, so.
And those sit right at those recessed pieces on the facade. That's what makes them compact spaces. They're the same width, they're just not as deep, and they happen at every piece. And our thought here was certainly that the trade-off of the relief of the facade, we can't build further into the hill than we already are. So we were constrained there, and the PD requirements push us to have the majority, as much of the building as possible, 70 to 80% out at the property line, or within the 0 to 3 feet. So we said, okay, the trade-off here, in addition to the fact that we're required to have 30 spaces, but we're providing 40, all of that in a big bowl, we said this is the appropriate balance of all of those constraints. So we said, let's have the 10 spaces that are in a way additional to what's required. Let's make them compact spaces, still have them in there, and fit them. Is that answering your question?
Yeah. So when you have, you know, like how exactly would that be kind of like allocated for the people who are living there? Are the certain units getting the compact spaces and others are getting the larger spaces, or those visitor spaces?
Sure. So the 0.6, right, that was required included, you know, 1/2 space per unit plus 0.1 spaces per unit of visiting spaces, but none of them are specifically assigned. So unit 201 doesn't get, you know, a certain assigned parking space. It really is kind of first come, first serve. We don't charge for parking. And so it's all available kind of on a first come, first serve basis.
Okay.
That answers the question.
All right.
And hopefully those with smaller cars will help us out and park in the compact spots.
Hopefully. But this is America. We like our big cars.
We like big cars.
So, others?
Well, this is going to be a bad pun, but I think you guys are really on the right track with the old railway. Sorry, couldn't resist. Couple of questions, kind of on that same parking theme. If you're headed east on Old Railway and you're turning right onto Buttercup Lane, what is the turning radius of then having to make another right turn into the parking structure? And hypothetically, if you've got somebody leaving the parking structure and you've got another neighbor coming down Buttercup, that seems like a really tight space in there.
This condition?
Yes. So I was wondering what the geometry is such that, you know, the cars that turning right into the garage aren't going to be accidentally clipping the edge of the building. You have bollards up there to protect that.
Good question. It is a two-way lane that meets all of the requirements. And working with Jim, we are confident that one can make this maneuver and then make the other. You know, all I can say is we know that from an engineering and a data standpoint, it absolutely works. It passes what's called auto turn tests. The other anecdote is that what tends to happen in our projects when these conditions are relatively tighter, it actually is safer, that people move more slowly, they negotiate the turns. I'm sure we've all been in parking garages that are really wide and generous, and we see people flying by. So we don't try to add more space. I mean, here, again, we have an extremely tight site, right? It's not like we had much of a choice. I don't want to leave you with that. But we're confident that all of these movements can work. And that, like I said, this is two-way access, large door. Sometimes you could even constrict that door. It's allowable to constrict that door at that threshold, but we're not. We're allowing the full width of the two-way with the opening. So we're confident it works. Okay. Hope no one hits the building.
Okay. And then I noticed in the project narrative, you talk about providing garbage, recycling, composting. Where is the storage of those for service, and is it envisioned that those dumpsters will be wheeled out for servicing, or is the truck expected to come into the building?
Correct. Those services are right here.
Okay.
You can see them all here through these double doors, and they roll out onto this rollover curb, and then they're picked up. So we don't need trucks in the building.
Okay. All right. And then I noticed that you're going to be pursuing the Enterprise Green Community Certification. That makes my heart very, very happy. So thank you for doing that. And I'm just curious, when you would you be able to share the scorecard with the town so we can get an idea of the points that you intend to pursue and what that looks like?
Yeah, let me just build on that. One of the reasons we love working with Penrose is that they have very high sustainability standards, far higher than our market rate projects. So with these affordably financed projects, because of the long-term hold, because these are not developers who are looking to lease it up and then sell it, we are so grateful that they have such high standards. So we're happy to show them off.
Great, thank you. Because this will be a first for the town of Superior, and I'd love, for you guys to get credit for that as well.
Great, well, you deserve the credit.
So thank you.
Just a couple of things. First, thank you so much for the thoughtful design. I really, really love it, especially as it pertains to the history of the area. I had no idea about the kite route. I loved the name ever since you guys have come to present to us in the beginning. I always thought that was a really unique name, and now seeing the thoughtful details that have gone into a nod to that history is really, really neat. So thank you for doing that. My questions around parking, which has already been answered, so I will skip that. The only other thing that I had a question about was that sun deck. I see there's stairs and there's appearing to be a gate. So I imagine that is locked and just for residents, or is that a gate for anybody, or what does the access to that sun deck look like beyond, obviously you can access it from the building as you mentioned, but for the stairs specifically?
It's, we just think about it as the same level of control that all of the other access points have. So really it is resident, it would be key fob only.
Okay, that's what I figured. Thank you so much.
There's a great book on the kite route.
I'm going to look. I'm going to look into that now.
We have it in the office. We should have brought it. It's fascinating. It's thick.
Thank you.
I have a question about the stairs as well. So there are a lot of stairs, but if you could show me just like the elevator access points and kind of how far people are moving between, just so I can get a better idea of where their mobility is.
This is going to be a little tricky. Well, imagine this is the second floor. This is the first floor, but here's the elevator and the stair. So above this are units. I believe there are 2 units. 2 units here. One on the, there's on the 3rd floor, but here is the deck. So if we didn't have that stair, which I think is the nature of your question, you would come out of the elevator on the 2nd floor and move down the corridor and be on this deck. So it's pretty close.
Okay. And the outside stairs, there's nothing, so when there's weather, like I don't know how these will be maintained or when there's snow, but there's no cover over them. And so I'm just concerned about people using them when they're icy or snowy. And I'm assuming that will be the agreement of however they're facilitating the building, but just have a steeper outside stair there for a senior housing area. I just want to make sure that it's not inviting issues.
It's a great point. Yeah, I think it would be maintained similarly to the rest of the deck, that on a nice sunny day, you would want people to be able to be outside. Yeah. And Brad will be out there shoveling. Or maybe
it is good directionally too, because the sun will melt a lot of what's out there. So
it's another reason that we don't have significant canopies and other weather protection devices here. This is the north facade. There's no need to shield from the sun. We want to keep that as open as possible. And additionally, all the drainage is handled internally and under the sidewalk and out to the street. So we're not dumping water on the sidewalk on the north side.
And if the screening was part of I understand your logic in that, it makes sense, but if that was something to be considered, what would be the difference between the screening height and that elevator shaft?
Oh, sure. Well, the elevator is about, I believe, 11 feet higher than the roof. The screen, like I said, these are 36-inch height, high condenser units, and the mechanical screen would be 42 inches, so only another 18 inches. Yeah, maybe half. Well, yeah, 3.5, a third. I'm not doing that math in my head. I don't do math in public. I don't really do it in private either.
I just had one other clarification. Jen brought up snow. Who maintains the snow on this, or clears the snow on the sidewalk? Because north side, the homes that are further down Railway, it's an ice skating rink pretty much from December until April. So just want to make sure that the sidewalk gets cleared and who's responsible for that.
Jim, Brett, I think you are, right? Brett is.
Okay.
Again, I'll be out there. Okay. No, we will do that. We maintain the sidewalks and property and landscaping and all of our assets, and this will be no different.
Great, thank you.
I have another question, just on access from emergency response folks. I mean, oh, sorry. But I understand that all the dimensions of the street and access is like, it's what it is, and the minimum standards are met. But as far as the structure itself, is there like a centralized location or a place that would be more ideal for them to be picking up if there's an emergency? Or granted, the person is movable or they're able to, move.
Yes, I can be general. Sean might be able to provide more specifics, but the fire access position or the emergency access position is here by the front door. They will be directed toward the front door. The elevator is large enough for a gurney, so they have sort of full access to all units. Not sure what else. Yeah.
I have a related question, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but when I was reading through the materials, it said another variance was the fire access in the back. And I know that they were going to be reviewing that. Have they come to a decision on that, or is that still under review?
They have. Sean, do you want to speak to that, please? This is Sean Jersnick from our office.
Hello, I'm Sean Jersnick, I'm a project architect with SAR Architects. So the request for access around the building, it's not a variance. It's allowed in the building code that the jurisdiction, the fire authority where the building is being built, determined the appropriate access distance around the building. And what we're proposing here is similar access distances to other apartments in the area. And so Mountain View Fire found that this design was acceptable.
Jason had his hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I was reading through this packet, and you mentioned that the building was being built with aging in place design standards?
Yes.
Okay. You might want to reconsider then the front entry and that green belt between the sidewalk and the curb. One of the major tenets of aging in place is to limit transit distances for individuals. This is obviously independent living, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there will not be individuals with canes, walkers, and wheelchairs. So they'll want to be dropped off directly at the front entrance and not have to either go through the crosswalk entrance there and walk down. And if this is a variance thing, or if Jeff tells us we need to, you guys would have to apply for that, I'm completely fine with that. And I would definitely encourage the board to lean in that direction. So I would do a sidewalk from where the crosswalk is to at least maybe 15 or 20 feet past the main entrance. I would go directly from the building all the way to the curb, concrete, do not have a grassy area there.
Jim Brostovich, Civil Resources. So we can do that to some extent, but there's some cross slope problems here. The building is set to be accessible from the ramp, But as you go east on Old Railway, the street drops down and the sidewalk stays level at the same level as the building. So if we put a concrete between the curb and the sidewalk for much more than where the curb ramp is, it would not be ADA accessible. And there's really nothing we can do about it because the street is sloping and the building is flat.
Well, rather than all the way across, could you just put it at the main entrance where directly across where people are going to be dropped off?
We can take a look at that, but I don't think it's going to meet accessibility criteria for slope. We'll take a look and see if we can do anything differently.
Yeah, I would appreciate if you would take a look at that. And the only other comment I would have, just for the small given amount of vertical height on top of the roof, I think that the residents behind would appreciate a physical barrier such as a screen. So I would definitely be in favor of seeing that on top of the roof to hide the mechanical units.
Okay, we'll absolutely look at that.
Yeah, thank you. Noted.
Thank you.
Is Chase still on or he's done?
Chase is on, yeah.
Is there a way to see the slope of the street from the front of the building so it can understand what they're saying? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'd like to see it. I didn't realize it was sloping.
As it slopes down, so if you kept it level with our building, your curb height here would be far in excess of the 6 inches because that street is dropping. But maybe Chase can fly around.
Chase, I know you're still on the Zoom call. Are you with us? Oh, he's here.
Just want to see Chase one more time before.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
What's the elevation difference?
So the street slopes at 1% down. So if you're going east 30 feet, it would drop 0.3 of a foot or 4 inches. So that 4 inches over that 8 foot of tree lawn, which is now tree lawn, which can be sloped fairly steeply, would not be ADA compliant.
I think that gave me what I was looking for more than this is going to. So sorry, Chase, but I think we're good unless anybody else wants to see anything else.
Thank you, Chase.
All right. Thanks, Chase. One additional question that I have, Councilmember Foster brought up the Enterprise Green Communities standards. So this building's being built 100% electric. Which is fantastic. Thank you for doing that and helping us reach our sustainability goals. There's a note in the applicant's narrative about the scope of the project that says the development will be 100% electric powered in furtherance of the local sustainability goals. We anticipate incorporating rooftop solar onto the building. So what does that mean?
Solar ready. I think that's, do you want to say more about that, Brad?
So admittedly, some of that was taken from our application to the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, who does require all buildings be solar ready, right, as a minimum. And so technically it's built to withstand and hold and operate rooftop solar. That said, again, given the sensitivities of our neighbors to the south, I think our plan at this point is not to go forward with installing solar panels, given, I think, just the impact it would have on our neighbors to the south who are looking down and already our condensing units. It would only add, I think, more clutter and more distraction. And so it's not worth it. But if it becomes a mandate, somehow between now and then, the building would be ready to do it, but it's not our plan.
Okay. Appreciate that. Any additional questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you for the presentation. I have just a couple questions for staff. So Jeffrey, if you want to come on up. So just from staff's perspective, design guidelines for downtown Superior for the Superior Town Center project, always a big item of discussion for any of the FDPs that we've been approving in downtown. So other than the exception noted with the deck and the stairway here. Any concerns about compliance with the design guidelines from staff's perspective?
I thought the application was super thorough about how all the different ways that they were being considered of and meeting those guidelines. Yeah, I think they went through point by point. I considered putting all of that in the memo, but.
Does staff have any opinion on the screening of the HVAC units on the roof?
I had a question about whether or not they would be covered, because from many vantage points, if you screened it, you would still be looking right down on them from the south. So if you could see the units plus you could see screens, I guess I don't see the point. But if they're covered, I think that they would have to be quite a bit higher. Yeah, then you're talking about blocking more views, so it just seemed like it wasn't worth. I mean, I take their advice that it's not worth it, but maybe.
Okay.
Can you say more about the solar? Like, I understand it being solar ready, but does Penrose, do you typically have solar on your properties when they're built like this?
My name is Michael Kimmelman. I'm an associate developer at Penrose. We do have solar on some projects, and I do think that narrative is still accurate. We would like to do solar on this project. Screening is one, concern with cost. Solar is a significantly higher one. And looking at our capital stack today, we're not in a position to finance that. Things could change where we can look at it and then have that conversation of what's the impact with our neighbors above us and continue to do it. But where we sit today, I just don't think there's a real feasible financial path for us to have it. So we have a PV-ready rooftop. If things change during construction or from now until our budget is finalized, that might be something we consider again, but I just don't see a pathway at the moment.
Is it because of how it looks?
It's,
they don't want it to. Is there a concern? I'm sorry. I know you can't speak for the residents, but is it? I missed that. Is it a concern of that they have to look at it?
I believe it was at a community meeting we had probably 18 months ago, and I think the question that came up was about the potential of glare from the solar, just from where they're positioned. I don't know if that glare would materialize or not, but it's something we would definitely want to look into and research if we were in a position where we thought it made sense and we had that budget to do so.
Okay. And so the way it's currently set up, it will be ready so that even if it's not during this part of the development, maybe later if they want to collectively put solar on their building, that it's ready for them to do that.
Yeah, and it can tolerate the load of solar.
Okay.
And the wind, correct.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Well, on that end, Jeffrey, so I'm assuming what we're considering tonight, so it allows solar in the future, right? So the residents up on the hill wouldn't be able to necessarily object to the use in general, but do we have any protections in place to kind of protect against glare if that is an issue? I mean, I could see that being a problem potentially. I mean, it's just a question of angling it right, but you want to have the solar angled properly to be maximum efficient.
And they could also explore thin film solar. So not a traditional solar panel, but you've got thin film solar. You have other technologies that they're not as reflective as what you think a solar panel might be in direct sunlight. So, and with thin film solar, you don't have the load concerns that you would with racking and all that other equipment.
So from a building permits perspective, there's not a requirement for when we review it, we ask those questions. On a building like this, we do have a review process. It's not just straight building permit. You submit and the building reviews it and it works and it gets a permit. We would actually go through a design review in the planning side for solar on this roof. So we would ask those questions. I'm not sure that there's anything in the code that requires them to do anything particular related to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's administrative. So we review it, we wouldn't bring it to you all.
It's just, I had never thought about like reflectivity of solar panels in a project, and this is just a uniquely positioned property relative to the neighbors that are just up the hill. So, you know, it's one of the, you don't anticipate the problems that you don't anticipate until they arise, right? And this is one of those situations where it potentially could be a problem. It could also be totally fine and not a problem.
There is solar on homes in the downtown with, you know, people living on the hill above. I've never noticed anything, but the condition kind of exists. Not on that scale, but.
And I got to imagine just with the sun angle in Colorado, there might be a couple of minutes a year where the sun hits the solar panel just right and reflects on somebody's bedroom window for 5 minutes until the sun moves, but it's possible.
Right. Okay.
From a financing perspective, and I always bring this up when we're talking about town buildings and when we're considering solar, which I've been a huge proponent of and I've done myself residentially, but if you lease the solar panels, and I don't know if you've considered that or not, but that way you're not buying technology that's going to be dated. And then typically that also includes insurance, so they pay for all the insurance and replacement and repair if there's any issues. So it kind of keeps costs down while locking in those rates for residents. So if you do consider that in the future, that might be an avenue that you might want to explore.
Yeah, thank you. Noted. We're always open to new and different ideas. I mean, on the projects that we do install solar, it's usually because there is a dramatic incentive in place or an ownership structure, or our project up in Longmont actually is pretty unique. The Longmont Power and Communications, they're kind of a wholly owned utility, wanted to install solar on our building that was going to be PV ready. And so we're not going to own it, but it's going to benefit our tenants. And so it's another unique structure. So we're, as Michael said, we're always interested in it, but financing can be a hurdle. Leasing it, I don't know how that would work in a tax credit partnership with easements and access and insurance and all those things. But again, open to any and all of these structures. We're always trying to kind of push a little bit in every project that we do.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions for staff or the applicant? All right. Why don't we open it up for public comment? Anybody in the boardroom like to give public comment on this application? Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom like to give public comment? Seeing none. Public comment is closed. Any additional questions for staff or the applicant? Otherwise, we'll move to our discussion. Close public hearing. Thoughts? I'll go first. I think that this is wonderful. Listen, I'm not here to. Santa Claus. Yeah, come on. We've been working with you guys for a couple years now with Penrose, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we're going to be bringing forward our first affordable housing project to Superior, and being a senior project to boot is just that much more of a wonderful thing, I think, for our community. It's serving an unmet need, and it's really, I think, capitalizing on a challenging parcel in a unique way. This is, the private sector with the public sector working together, leveraging relationships and tax credits and all of the different things to make a project like this possible. It's really expensive to live in Boulder County, and we to date do not have any affordable housing. So it was, I think, a great decision for the town when we approved the PD amendment to allow this to become a reality, and now to move forward and actually approve the final development plans to get this moving forward, I think is just great. I really like the development from the aesthetics of it. I think it really fits in with downtown Superior. I think our staff did a great job reviewing it and getting us prepared for this hearing. And the architecture here is great. And I think that this is just going to be a great addition to downtown Superior, to Superior as a whole, and to just the Boulder County housing market, which is in desperate need of attainable units and senior units. So thank you for considering Superior. Thank you for coming here. And to Councilmember Miller's point, I too didn't know the history of the kite route crossing. So I think that that's just like one of the additional kind of like the icing on the cake on this application, is to just be able to bring that, to the forefront of everybody's memory and just kind of revitalize that aspect of the history of this area is a wonderful thing. So I'm a yes, and I'm eagerly anticipating the groundbreaking. I'll get my shovel ready and let me know. When do we think we're actually going to, January? And then how long to actually bring to market? August 27th.
A little less than a year and a half, like 14, 15 months, hopefully, if everything goes well.
Excellent. All right. Others?
Sorry, go ahead.
So going to show my age here. I'm disappointed you didn't know about Kite Route. So I think looking around the room, Matt and I might have been the only ones around when this downtown Superior was dreamt. To see this as part of it is, I think, beyond our wildest dreams. Side note, I really like the exterior stairwell. I agree weather could pose a problem, but I think it's more inviting. I might be waiting for a guest to pick me up from that balcony and then come down the stairs and meet them there, because yes, I would fit into this age group. Love that you compliment the energy of downtown Superior. Your vision, being one of the newest council members here since this FDP was approved or put into motion. Honored to be part of that, but thank you for complimenting that energy. The elevation, I think, is appreciated from those who live there currently, those that live on Canary, and for the future. I think it's important, so thank you for being a role model in that. And not just because I love history, but history is important. It is part of this community. Thank you for being a storyteller. I think it's going to be a huge compliment to the community. I will also say I was part of the committee who put together some of these street names. So Kite Route was one of them. So to see it really memorialized in that building, I think everyone will feel that energy. So easy to say, I'm definitely, everyone asks the difficult questions, but very excited for you guys. So thanks for all the hard work.
Just an addendum on my comments. Thank you for those comments, Heather. I just wanted to note that I'm open to a condition on requiring screening, potentially, if that's something that the council is in favor of. If the council is not in favor of, I'm not going to vote no. But if it's something that we as a collective believe would make the project better, I would be supportive of that condition. And that's whether it's just screened or enclosed. Either way, I'd be open to it.
So just to finish mine, then I'm probably in that neutral area too. I'm not sure it's needed, but again, yeah, if we're weighing towards one or the other, I'll go with that.
And just to follow up on that comment, I've been trying to envision what a screen would look like, and from my perspective, if it's something that we can move forward without a screen, and if there are a lot of complaints down the road, if the developer would then be amenable to putting something up down the road, that would be my preferred route. Because again, I'm trying to envision what screening would look like, and I don't know how to describe this because I'm not an architect, but there's an airiness to looking through the unit, on-roof units, and having another parapet to look at or try to look through or over, just that would impede some of the views. So if it's possible to do it post-construction, if there are complaints down the road, I would be amenable to that. So that's my thought on that. But to kind of echo Heather's comment, I love how the architecture complements the rest of the residential developments across the street, down the street. I think it's going to be a real asset for Superior and downtown. And once we get our restaurants and shops opened up downtown, it's going to be a really wonderful walkable space for everybody in downtown. So well done. I like this. And again, I'm very excited about certification. So I'm a yes.
Is it possible to get a rendering with screening? Like, could we see what that would look like? Not to hold this up tonight, but if the consideration is there that they could be added. I mean, it might be that we see what it looks like and are immediately like, that's not great. So I don't know if it's possible to kind of give the visual of that without a lot of investment of time and energy. But the incorporation of the kite route history is just wildly unexpected. And some Superior seniors are going to live here, but that will give them some grounding in this community edge. But there's going to be folks that come here that don't live in Superior, and it's going to give them some immediate belonging. And one of the things, especially for seniors, is just to have an anchor in belonging in communities. And it's just such a cool addition that I didn't know that history. I didn't know it existed. And for you guys to have taken that and made it a touch, historically, I've had conversations with developers where we're asking them to do things. We're just like pulling teeth to get them to do something that makes it feel like a place of belonging. And so that you just did that it's wonderful. So thanks.
I don't have much more to add, so I won't belabor the points beyond, love again that you incorporated kite route. I really like the sense of community that you created with those little setbacks with the benches, so it really feels welcoming to everyone. The design is great. It dovetails well with downtown, and I'm just very, very excited. The fact that our first attainable housing project is going to be for seniors is icing on the cake, so thank you for bringing this to us.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't think it's too much to ask to go with the screens. And in fact, if you were to just take a sight line from one of the second story windows to the back or to the front facing, street facing edge of the HVAC mechanical unit, then you back off the screen, you get an exact height right there, right to the top of the sight line. I don't think it's going to be too tall. I don't think it's going to be obscenely ugly. I think it's going to be easy. And I think we owe it to the residents living on top of that hill that they don't look at mechanical units. They might hear them, but at least not having a sight line for that would be beneficial.
So
being an architect,
can I just ask you for clarification? Are you suggesting just a fenced in screen, not with a cover, so it's not like an enclosure, but just a screen?
Just a screen, yeah. You don't need enclosure on it. All you need, because if the mechanical unit can exist right now without a screen, it doesn't need a top to it. So I would just screen the back of it, space it off, whatever the manufacturer's recommendations are, maybe 2-3 feet back of it to give it enough airspace and just put it up. So I'm definitely in favor of a screen for the mechanical units. Beyond that, I think that's, obviously it's a nice looking building. It fits downtown. I knew, I'll just throw my 2 cents in. I knew the kite, the whole history of that street when we first bought in downtown, because I asked, why did you call it Old Railway? And the person selling us the home told us the whole history behind it. So I thought that was pretty cool. But, I think it's, I hate to say this, it's good enough. I think there's, especially the entry kind of irks me. That should have been given a lot of forethought, especially since that is going to be the primary entrance for the residents going in here. And if it is an independent living for seniors, there are mobility issues that should have been addressed, I think, in a more wholesale fashion. But, I'm not gonna vote against it. It's as good as we're gonna get. We tend to get a lot of proposals like this that are as good as we're going to get. We put, was it $750,000 into this of our own money to make sure this is going to happen. So, it's a dire need in this community right now, and the entire state of Colorado, not just 55 plus affordable, but, regular market rate. So everything we can do to bring this typology to the town of Superior, we should make every effort with. So that's all I have to say.
So, everybody speak up? Everybody spoke up? Yeah. My proposal would be that we move to approve with a condition. I'm going to defer to the judgment of the resident architect on the town council. Not require any sort of enclosure, but just some screening that's gonna, match the look and feel of the existing design, which I imagine shouldn't be too difficult to make happen, right? Does that work? All right. I will. Did you want to say something, Heather?
No. Was that a motion?
Well, no, I was just,
was
not yet. It wasn't yet, but I will make a motion. All right. I'll make a motion to approve Town of Superior Resolution Number R-69, Series 2025, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Superior approving a final development plan number 4 for Discovery Office Park, case number FDP 2024-5-01, 20245-01, and in connection therewith, approving a development agreement between Kite Route Crossing LLC and the town, subject to the condition that the mechanical units on the roof are screened in a manner consistent with the building's facade. Is that?
Second.
All right. We got a motion from Mayor Lasis, a second from Councilmember Cowish. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Lasis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Serbu,
Yes.
Councilmember Cowish,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Councilmember Craycraft.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. All right, congratulations. Good luck. We look forward to the groundbreaking.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is executive session to hold a conference with the town's attorney to receive legal advice on a specific legal question pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402-4B regarding legal issues in the Sagamore subdivision and related matters. I move to go into executive session.
Second.
Got a motion from Mayor Lasis, second from Councilmember Foster. Roll call vote, please.
Sorry, the page to the wrong one. Mayor Pro Tem Serbu,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cowish,
Yes.
Councilmember Craycraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Mayor Lasis.
Yes.
Great. Are we meeting in here or is there a separate?
Because Mayor Pro Tem is remote, I think it would be best to move in there with a separate Zoom link. Do you have a statement you have to make for exec session?
I think I'm gonna make my statement about the recording once we do the initial
Okay.
announcements into
Okay.
exec session.
All right.
Usually we say, or Nick or Kendra would say like, the following constitutes my legal advice, and as a result, I say that no recording should be held, and then we stop the recording.
Okay, yeah, I can do it now. Yeah, is my mic okay? Yeah. Okay. All right, so as a Superior Town Attorney, it's my opinion that the following discussion constitutes a privileged attorney-client communication, and I'm therefore recommending that no further record be kept of this following executive session that we're about to enter into.